Hello, everybody, and welcome to Write Something Weird, your favorite literary show where we talk about creating cool art. I'm Sophie Stern, and I'm here today with my wonderful guest, Suzie Johannes. Hi, Suzie.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, Sophie.
Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to talk with you about your writing process and your music. We met, you played a local show like a year ago at Replay Lounge, one of my favorite places to go to hear live music. And you really shine when you're on stage. Like, I can tell how passionate you are about your music and your work. What's the best thing about performing live?
That's a good question. I sometimes I struggle with performing live. Like sometimes I really like the recording process part of making music.
Oh, cool.
And I like band practice. I don't have a band right
Yeah.
now, but band
Yeah.
practice is fun. But performing, I really like I think that there's times where just unexpected things sort of happen. People have different reactions or start dancing, or I don't know, things hit people in different ways. And so I think it's cool because it's, like a live, unexpected uh, event.
Yeah.
Whereas, if someone's listening to your music on their own, you don't really know, and you don't know what they get from it unless they like tell you or something like that.
Yeah. That's really cool. I feel like because I usually write like books and stories, and you're right. Like if somebody reads my book and they enjoy it, like I might never know. So I imagine that that feeling is like really exciting to be like, oh, I see this person and they're starting to like move and get into it.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I wish I was more of a like, like some bands are like fun dance bands and like sometimes I wish I was more like that. I'm not necessarily like you playing things that people like to move to or dance to, but I don't know, maybe in the future.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I feel like, can you tell when people are starting to like engage with your lyrics and like starting to like connect to it a little bit?
Yeah, I've had shows where it seemed more so than others. I remember like the very first show I played, I started playing music after college.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to study abroad in Sweden, and I
Cool.
don't know Swedish, so yeah, I wanted to get my master's there, I guess. I had studied abroad in Sweden, and they have like live music everywhere, so I thought, oh, if I can play music, maybe I can do
Yeah.
something like that. Um, and I remember I played a show at the Tap Room in Lawrence, and it was in
Yeah.
the basement. I played like three songs, and everyone just got real quiet, and they like were just like really listening, and
Yeah.
it was super cool. But it was kind of like no noticeable, and
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and it's just I'm background music, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is like I have a show coming up on July 31st in the basement of Liberty Hall.
Cool.
Yeah, they're doing shows there now, and I'm playing with a couple other women who are in their 20s, and I went over because we're gonna do a couple covers together and to work
Yeah.
out like our parts and stuff.
Yeah.
And afterwards we talked about just performing and like the kind of mental gymnastics in a way, because like on one hand, it's really cool to see people like get into it or connect and then talk with them later.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it feels like I have, and they said they had this too, which I had no idea. But sometimes after, I mean, a lot of times after I perform the next day, I just feel like I was very cringe, and there's nothing to
Oh.
tell me that I was like that. Yeah. And I think it's just like it's kind of like the flip side of that coin because when you perform, you're asking people to come and just watch you. Like,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
be there, leave their families, make time for it, and then just focus on you. And it's kind of a weird place sometimes to be.
Yeah, that's a really interesting experience. And you're totally right. I think that's an interesting way of like looking at performing as a whole too. Like you're asking
Mhm.
them to invest in you for a little bit. So what do you do to kind of combat that feeling of like the next day cringe,
Yeah.
let down? You're
I
not
haven't
cringe,
quite,
by the way. You're
Thanks.
great.
I haven't quite figured it out, but I know that it's coming. Like it's like it might also be sort of like a just it's kind of vulnerable being on, especially when I play solo, like
Mhm.
um being on stage and performing and then it helps like I quit drinking in like last November. Now I sometimes, but I used to drink to kind of loosen up, I guess, before a show. And now I stopped doing that. And that actually helps because I think it's anxiety is basically
Yeah.
the thing the next day.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I know, like,
Yeah.
when I like the same thing with like putting out a story or a book, like, after it goes out into the world, like, there's a moment where you're like, I'm so proud. And then you're like, what if it's the worst thing anyone's ever read? So,
Yeah.
so I get that.
I know, like,
Um,
do you read like reviews and stuff like that, or do you kind of stay away from it, or?
I do, but not regularly. Like, I will go and like take a look now and then. Do you kind of have that same experience with like reviews of like your albums or your work?
Yeah, I don't get like reviewed that much, so I read it all, but everyone's real kind. I mean, I feel like almost with like literary reviews, people are trying to find an angle that makes it more interesting about
Yeah.
what could be, I don't feel like people are as critical about lo local music.
That's good though. But speaking of
Hmm.
local music, before our interview today, I was Googling you and I found an article. I Heart Local Music wrote a really nice piece about you and called you one of Lawrence's music scene's top songwriters. That was so
Oh,
cool.
yeah, that is
Um,
cool.
yeah, I love that. But it sounds like from reading that and just talking to you, that music seems to be like a joyful piece in your life. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's like it's challenging. And it was funny, like I signing up to do this podcast about writing music, like I honestly haven't I feel like a kind of an imposter. I haven't written a song in a really long time.
You're not.
I'm
You're
hoping
not an
that I will.
imposter.
Okay, yeah. I did at one point, but yeah, I'm hoping I will get it together. But yeah, like it's always been like a really big challenge for me because I it doesn't come like super naturally in a way. Like I have to really try at it. And I'm like I started taking guitar lessons actually like last month. But
Cool.
I'm pretty much like self-taught on guitar and so I have like a lot of my earlier songs were just like the same chords, just trying to figure
Mhm.
out like how to write a song and like the structure and that sort of thing.
So for you, what comes first? Is it the music or is it the lyrics?
The songs I've usually written them like at the same time. So I'll be like playing the guitar and I'll find some chords and then I'll find a melody and then I'll just start singing things that fit the melody. And then
Yeah.
it's hard though because I end up getting there's two things that challenge me, which is I'll get stuck in some words like I won't be able to break free from just those words. Um, and that can be limiting. And then I also like, I don't know if you're like this, but I edit myself like way too quickly. Like I want it to be like finished before it's finished. I
Yeah.
need to work more on like, yeah, I guess just finessing
Yeah.
the lyrics are the harder part for me.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, and I feel like with lyrics, there's also a sort of like vulnerability, kind of like how
Hmm.
we were talking about when we perform. So how do you kind of like push past that? Like, because you're kind of sharing your heart with people.
Yeah, I struggle with that. So I put out an album in 2025, and that album is called like Kansas City, Hans Brand's Boulevard.
Cool.
And yeah, that album is all songs that my friend Hans Brand's wrote. And at the time that I recorded that, and then a little like shortly after it was released, like my I got a divorce and my divorce was finalized.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, people who know me sort of and know that I write music, they're like, "Oh, you need to write it, write about your divorce, write about this like the divorce album or something." I'm like, I don't know, but doing that project like that and just recording his songs allowed me to just get going again, and that was
Yeah,
really helpful because I wasn't when I sang something, I wasn't thinking someone's going to think that I think that or, that sort of thing.
that's nice. There's kind of like a barrier there, a little bit,
Yeah.
like a protective layer. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see like, I can almost see like how certain artists, like big artists, they will have like an alter ego.
Yeah,
And I
that's
can kind of see
interesting.
how that could be like freeing because
Mm,
then you're like writing from that person's perspective. But
for sure. And I
mhm.
feel like as a listener, I feel like a divorce album would be cool. Like I think a lot of people could relate to that, but I could also see how that would be very, again, very vulnerable. Like you're sharing something really personal. And then people will ask you questions. And so it's kind of like how deep do you want to go?
Yeah, I did start. I was like thinking about it, and I don't know. One way I thought about going about doing it, but I haven't done anything except for come up with song titles. But
Okay.
so I don't know if you know this, but like Shel Silverstein, the poet.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so he wrote like Boy Named Sue that Johnny
Mhm.
Cash sang. And he wrote
Yeah.
yeah, he wrote a few different country songs. There's one called One's on the Way. I don't know if you know that
Okay.
one.
I don't know that one.
Okay, it's Loretta Lynn, I think, sings it. And it's actually funny because she's singing about like what's happening with Jackie Onassis and fashion trends and stuff. But then she says like here in Topeka. And she's like, I need to change this baby's diapers. I got this pot that's boiling over and there's one on the way. So I love those like kind of jokey sort of
Yeah.
country songs. So I thought about maybe that would be a way to do it. If it's a joke, it's a little bit easier even to write it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Plus, again, with like that protective layer of like, it's not,
Yeah.
you're not coming out and
Hmm.
saying it, but I think that's also interesting because it makes your listener participate a little bit. Like they have to pay attention to what you're
Yeah.
actually saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I think I just need to start writing I guess I'm curious about your practice, like how you structure it so that you keep progressing and you keep writing.
So that's a really good question. For me, like, I know with books it's like a little different, but I definitely tend to ask a lot of questions while I'm writing. So like if I finish a book, like sometimes I'll be like, well, what happened to this character who worked at the grocery store? Do they have a story? Like, can I write about them? And kind of weave different worlds that way. But I also do like to infuse my stories with like real situations and real experiences. So like the pot boiling over, I know that if I'm like feeling kind of stressed or like upset in my personal life, my characters are going to go through hell. They're going to have a bad
Yeah.
time because they're going to go through everything that I'm going through, but it might look a little different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite song that you've performed or written?
Yeah, the well, I guess another thing about songwriting, a
Mhm.
lot of my favorite songs have been collaborations with my friend Hans Browns.
Cool.
So, yeah, the Kansas City album, he wrote all those songs. And then some of my earlier songs, like I'm really proud of I have a song Horse Rider's Smile, and I have a song called Kelly Ann. And what happened was when I was like 25 or 26, he would just email me like poems
Oh,
or
cool.
like, yeah, it would just be like words. And then I would just try to make them into songs. And so Horse Rider Smile and Kellyanne are both like that. So he had emailed me that, and then I kind of got on the guitar and started to try to make it into a song.
Cool.
Um, yeah, and We joked at the time because Elton John, he had a writing partner. Now I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's
Uh,
okay.
I thought it was Bert something, but it's probably not that. But anyway, he would give Elton John just he would have all these lyrics, and Elton John would just sit down at the piano and then make them into songs.
That's interesting.
So yeah, we kind of joked like we're like Elton John and Cash, whoever that guy. I feel bad about that, but
No, it's okay. We can add it in the description later.
yeah,
That's
okay,
all. It's all good. That's
yeah.
really cool though. I like the
Mhm.
idea of like it being this collaborative thing. I know for me, that's how I feel. I don't usually co-write with people, but like working with like an editor, or a publisher and having them like share ideas or questions about like how a story could be more interesting. It's really fun when you have someone else to play with.
Yeah, and I think he's, I don't know, really gifted at the songwriting. Like he
Yeah,
just thinks of really unexpected things. And
that's
so,
cool.
yeah, I think the songs that I wrote probably I released an album at the beginning of this year. It's the Los Angeles album, and the first song's called Whisper, and I wrote that one, the lyrics and the song. So that's probably the one I'm the most proud of.
That's
Mm.
really cool. What started that album or what inspired it?
Yeah, so that album's kind of interesting because so when I was like 25 or 26, I just started, and then I had won the KJHK, which is like the college radio station there, Battle of the Bands contest, and I got money to record. So I
Cool.
recorded, yeah, some songs that I wrote and then some other songs. And then my friend, he had a record label in Lawrence, and he put out the EP that I have out from 2008, and that has four of those songs. And then I had some momentum and I had like a record offer. And
Yeah.
so a friend of mine, I played with Josh, he moved to LA and he had a friend who recorded there. And so we made up this plan to go there and record this album. So it was me and Josh and his friend, and then he brought in some other people. But the record offer kind of fell through because I hadn't worked out all the details with like the money and how much it was going to cost. So it just sat in like a Dropbox for that was like 2013. So for like
Okay.
13 years. So that LA album, um, it kind of because the Kansas City album, I got in touch with that person who recorded it again, and he it was really generous and said that I could release it. So
Yeah.
that album's like old, but I just released it.
That's really cool. And how fun to be able to like go back and revisit like that album that was waiting for you, right? And like waiting for the right moment to come out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of like, there's some mistakes on it and there's some, the songs,
Yeah.
some of the songs I'm like, oh, like I don't, whatever. But it was more like I just wanted to get it out and like keep
Yeah.
moving. So yeah.
Well, and I think that forward motion is so important. And as an artist, I think anytime we create something, it's so hard to know when it's like good enough or ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know like for writing fiction, like there's always moments where I'm like, if I had 20 years to work on this book or this story, like it would be so great. But I think for me, I have to reach a point where I'm like, it's pretty good though. It's pretty okay. With music, how do you know when something is ready to be performed or recorded?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm super impatient, so I don't like rework a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
I kind of like, especially with the recording process, the two albums I recorded. My preferred thing, both of them were kind of done the same way, where I just went in with demos and then we just created the songs like as we recorded them.
cool.
So everyone wrote their own parts, and then it's just so there's not a lot of like it's not tedious. There's not a lot of like lamenting over this or that. It's just like
Yeah.
do it and move on. I think it's partially because I'm like impatient and I don't want to like keep keep going over things.
Yeah. You know what though? I feel like that's kind of cool. Like it's cool that you're like, let's just do it. Like let's go for it. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but it might be some, I keep telling myself I need to play a longer game.
I don't know. It sounds like you're killing it, so I think you're
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know.
So, a question I have for you, I know that with books and stories, like I can look back on them and know, hey, here's how I felt in this moment. Here's what I was going through when I wrote that. Is that how it is for you with songs, whether it's something you've performed or written yourself? Do you ever look back at music and go, yep, I remember how I felt this day?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like especially that LA album that's from like
Mhm.
13 years ago. Some of those songs, I remember like the lyrics and describing how I felt then, and actually how I feel now is a little bit different than I did then.
Yeah.
Um, One song that's interesting for me, that song Kellyanne, because my friend emailed me the lyrics, I
Yeah.
didn't really have an association with them. Um,
Okay.
to the same extent, like I have
Yeah.
an association in that I remember the apartment I was in. I remember the like sitting on my bed with my guitar, and I remember like writing them or like putting them to music, but I didn't have an association with the lyrics. And so people would say like, "Who is Kellyanne?" Or like
Yeah.
the Kansas City album, it's a lot of different women. They're like, "Who's Rebecca? Who's Misty? Who's like, who are these
Oh, yeah.
women?" But with Kellyanne, I kind of developed an association with it just in this past year, like going through the divorce and kind of finding myself again.
Uh-huh.
It, then I was like, oh, I'm kind of like, because that song, the person's looking for this person, Kellyanne. And I kind of started to feel like that was the process I was going through and trying to remember who I was
Yeah.
before.
Well, and that being able to reclaim yourself, I think, is so important. And it's really
Yeah.
cool to use music to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, yeah, I'm in my 40s now, and um yeah, we kind of, I don't know, been doing a lot of therapy and a lot of like reading self-help books and stuff, and I think we
Oh,
just
cool.
kind of, yeah, I was on sort of autopilot, and now I'm kind of taking a step back and trying to figure out like what I actually want.
Yeah. Well, and it's a cool feeling to have that power, right? And to be like,
Right, yeah.
actually, I get to choose what I want and I get to explore and see and feel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think it's kind of like, I don't know what I thought my 40s would be like, but it's kind of better than I thought it would be.
So not to get too off topic, but I was at Cougar Club in Lawrence this week. Have
Oh,
you heard of
yeah.
this?
Yeah, yeah, but I haven't gotten to I've gotten the one in Kansas City, but not the one in Lawrence yet.
Okay. It was so fun. And it was so cool to see so many women of so many different ages just having a good time. And I
Yeah.
loved going because you could kind of tell, like, there were some women who were like in their 60s or 70s, and it's like life does not end when you are 25. You can still have a great time and find yourself.
Yeah, I love Lawrence especially has some really amazing women who live here and just amazing community, and I feel
Yeah.
like I kind of feel like there's something like magical happening all the time here because yeah, there's like I just yeah, feel really grateful to have so many supportive and amazing friends in town. So yeah, I want to
Yeah.
go to that, and I love the woman who puts it together. She's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Well, hopefully I'll see you there in the future. We can dance
Yeah.
together. It's fun.
Yeah.
Um, you have been such a great guest. I have one more question for you before we say goodbye. Um, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to write music or a song but never has?
Good question. I think that I probably need to follow my own advice.
Susie.
Just yeah. I think, like just doing it, like just sitting down and I think dedicating time to it, making it
Yeah.
intentional and even if you never show it to anyone or no one ever hears it, it's still meaningful just in the act of it itself.
That's really cool. I like that. And it's a good feeling to sit down and just work on something and kind of play with how you feel about it. And yeah, I like that advice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess going back to being in my 40s, it feels like there's maybe less pressure than there was
Yeah.
even when I was younger because it's like there's no mystique, there's no I'm a mom and I'm just I got a day job and I'm just kind of
Yeah.
doing what I want to do because I find it to be um intriguing and worthwhile. So that's
Yeah.
my point.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, Susie, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me about your process and your music. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you again July 31st at Liberty Hall, right?
Yep, yeah, and then well in Kansas City I'm gonna play Lemonade Park on Friday, August 14th. That one's going to be a
Okay.
hot one, but it'll be good.
It'll be great. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. Have a
Yeah,
great
thank
rest of your
you.
day.
All right, you too. Thank you, Sophie.